Okay, guys, so I think we'll get started if that's okay. So a massive welcome to this morning's session, which is Crypto and Introduction for IFAs and Accountants. My name's Katharine Waller, I'm Managing Director for Daxi in the UK. And today's session is really intended to be education and information. It's certainly not a sales pitch about Daxi. We know lots of financial and legal professionals are very curious about what's going on in our industry at the moment. So let me just share some slides. Here we are. Very good. Just press that. Excellent. Could you just have a thumbs up if you can see some slides? Alan, I can see you. Very good. Okay, so for those of you that are listening live, there's a chat function at the bottom. So please feel free to comment as I'm talking if anything I'm saying particularly resonates with you, or if you've got any questions. I'll try and keep an eye on the chat to answer any questions as we go along. If not, I will, if they don't sort of go into the pattern of what I'm saying, I'll try and address them at the end. And for those listening live, we do stop recording and do some Q&As at the end. So I think I'll probably talk for about 20 minutes, something like that. We try very hard to give you all the information that we think is interesting and will be relevant to your industry. So a quick disclaimer, the information I'm going to give you today is not investment advice, financial advice or trading advice, rather it's education, information and hopefully some inspiration. So I know a lot of people on this call probably haven't heard of Daxi before. So Daxi is a crypto exchange. So we are one of the ways that you can purchase crypto. So whether you've got British pounds or euros or a number of other currencies, you can use those to purchase crypto through us. Let me just get my list of people and I can hopefully mute off whoever's got the background noise. So I suppose the analogy that we use quite a lot when I'm talking to people that know literally nothing about crypto is whenever I go on holiday, it seems like a while ago now, but if I need, you know, euros or dollars or Emirati dirham, I pop up to my supermarket and there's a very nice lady who's got her own little booth and I give her my local currency and she exchanges for me. And we do exactly the same thing. But of course, rather than me having to go to the supermarket 4 miles up the road, we do it online. So we try and put out a lot of education around our space. We're seen to be the leader in educating people that know quite little about crypto. And one of the reasons we're very passionate about the legal and financial sections are because we know that they're getting asked an awful lot of questions about crypto and often don't have some of those answers to hand. So a bit of background about me. I write for the press extensively. So we're often asked what's going on in crypto as an industry. Obviously, it moves quite quickly. This is just a selection of articles I've written in the last year or so. So we all talk a lot about adoption. So who's using crypto and why, what's happening in the industry, what's happening with prices now, where we think those prices might go. So you'll see quite a lot of our press coverage. And if you follow me on LinkedIn or you follow our social media, you'll see a lot of content around that. So you can find me very easily online. I'm on LinkedIn. I've got a long career in startups, particularly in the fintech arena. It's been a very interesting couple of years, particularly in crypto and in the blockchain industry. So Daxi is actually the third blockchain business that I've worked on. I held board advisory roles for 2 other businesses that were blockchain related, one of which was recently valued at 15 million, the other one was valued at 5. Before that, my career was very focused on traditional financial services, worked with lots of IFAs, wealth managers. I've done some work with investment banks, asset managers and capital markets technology. So I'm really very focused on disruptive fintech businesses. I've also recently contributed to a book. So there's a book on Amazon at the moment called The Book of Money and Finance, which has a chapter about crypto in it, which I wrote. I've also been nominated for an industry award. I have a blog which is syndicated in a number of publications, and I also sit on the board of our trade body, which is called Crypto UK. So hopefully I am well placed to give you some interesting information about crypto today. So what we will cover in today's session, we'll talk about the regulatory environment. I think a couple of years ago, crypto was quite rightly niche within a niche, and frankly was the Wild West. So fast forward a couple of years, the regulator is taking crypto seriously. So I'll be talking about some of the regulatory obligations that we have as a business and the regulator's position around crypto right now. Why Daxi? I think there's been a huge amount of bad exchanges, bad ideas and bad products. So I'll talk about what Daxi is doing and some of the ways that your customers can keep themselves safe if they're looking to purchase crypto. Businesses we work with, so the sorts of companies that we're collaborating with right now. I'll talk about crypto, so why crypto and why now, what's going on. It can be a bit of a minefield to get involved, and particularly which cryptos. There's actually over 8,000 different cryptos, so it's quite challenging to know which of those are a good idea. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about the referral program and some of the business and marketing support that we provide. So quite a lot of content to rattle through. So I just want to talk about regulation. I know it's quite dry, but I think it's very important to understand the regulator's position around crypto at the moment. I know we've got some people listening live who are UK based. I know we've got some who are Irish based. So I'm just going to talk about what's happening in the UK. We are a global business. We're headquartered in Singapore. We have 6 offices globally. I head up the UK and Europe. So I'm just going to talk a bit about our regulator, which is the FCA. So the FCA put out some research last summer, so end of June last year, which really, to my knowledge, was the first time that sort of the FCA showed some signs of actually taking crypto seriously. So it's online, it's free. If you want copies of the slides that I'm using today, please do drop me your email in the chat function. You can message me privately and directly, and I'll give you a copy of these slides. There's a few links for documents that might be useful to you. So the research note actually was a very interesting document. So it took really a snapshot of what was happening in crypto. So as an industry, we took that finally the FCA was taking crypto seriously. Obviously, when new products come out, the FCA can sometimes be a little bit slow to really understand the rate of uptake. And interestingly, there's some really exciting data. So the main takeaways were that the adoption of crypto and its popularity was growing massively. So it had grown at double year on year. And obviously I won't patronize you with the maths. If something doubles year on year, that's growing to quite a substantial proportion of the UK population. So right now they reckon that about 3.5% of the UK population own crypto. And obviously if that doubles every year, that will be a significant proportion fairly quickly. And they also noted a significant shift in buyer demographics. So a couple of years ago, you tended to see that crypto was, as I said, a niche within a niche, really just probably bought by a younger crowd, quite a sort of nerdy, technical people sitting in their back bedrooms on their own. So fast forward to today, we'll talk about a lot of the institutional adoption of crypto between banks, asset managers. You know, there's a lot of talk around crypto from an institutional perspective. But in terms of retail purchases buying at the moment, there was a massive surge in buyer demographics in that slightly older crowd. And certainly at Daxi, that's something that we note. We're one of the very few exchanges which probably actively seeks out a slightly older crowd. And the reason for that is that they're savvy, you know, they've seen recession before, they've seen new technologies come in, and often that older crowd is just probably a little bit cynical about pension provision, a little bit nonplussed with what's happened in the UK in the last couple of years. And increasingly they are looking to diversify into crypto. But quite rightly, the FCA identified a number of barriers. So lack of knowledge, obviously, can be quite challenging to find information around crypto. If you Google it, you can very quickly fall into a black hole. I often say if you have 10 questions about crypto, you ask Google, you'll answer those 10, but you'll give yourself another 20 questions. That can be quite a long process. So companies like Daxi try and put out education, whether it's webinars, ebooks, blue papers, to try and address some of that education process. And of course, there was a real challenge with not having exchanges closer to home. So many people that were buying crypto in the last sort of year or two were often wiring their money to some very glamorous and far-flung places. But of course, those exchanges which were not under local regulation. Excuse me. So fast forward to today, there are a number of exchanges which are closer to home. There is a list of exchanges which is on the FCA's list, which we'll talk about in due course. And of course, issues around consumer protection, so people understanding what they're buying and knowing that the exchange they're using ideally would be answerable to a local regulator. So I just want to talk about where we are right now today. So quite rightly, the crypto businesses in the UK are under the AML counterterrorism legislation, which is quite right. So again, if you see far-flung exchanges being talked about in less than glowing terms, often they do not have robust KYC and AML processes. So the FCA last year said that any crypto business that is active in the UK had to make themselves known to the FCA, which of course Daxi did. And the outcome for that is there is now a list of permitted exchanges. So you can find that on the FCA website. So the FCA is quite clear. Anyone who has a new business has to register with the FCA before being allowed to conduct business. And the FCA is very clear for any retail investor that holds crypto on any exchange other than one on their list should remove their crypto immediately. So some very strong guidance from the regulator. It's actually a great timing. So anyone listening to a recording, we're talking on the morning of Wednesday, the 13th of January, and the FCA put out further guidance a couple of days ago. So there was an update on the 11th of January, where the regulator quite rightly says that there are a number of businesses in the crypto sphere, particularly those related to crypto-related investments and particularly for lending, that have high-pressure sales tactics, particularly through social media and internet advertising, and that retail investors should be very wary of those companies. So it's great to see the FCA clamping down. The industry is overdue a clear out. There's obviously an education process to be done with retail investors. And Daxi wholeheartedly supports the FCA in that mission and the recommendations that they make. So lots of information on the FCA website. And I think increasingly for IFAs and wealth managers who are looking to come to the table and discuss crypto, it's great that the FCA is now making inroads into supporting that process. So I just want to have a quick run through of HMRC's guidance. So again, the accountants often are talking to people that have made strong returns on crypto and are looking to deal with their tax affairs. So the great thing is that HMRC has put out guidance both for individuals and for companies. So if we just start with the individuals. So HMRC has put out guidance around people that are purchasing crypto, and they're very clear that that would fall under capital gains tax, and it's very rare and only in exceptional circumstances there'd be enough activity for trading to amount to a financial trade in itself, and then as such income takes priority over capital gains tax. I'll obviously circulate these slides for anyone that wants the link for HMRC, and again for companies there's further guidance from HMRC. Obviously that would attract a number of taxes: capital gains tax, corporation tax, income tax, national insurance contributions, and potentially VAT. And again, it's just great to see that, you know, it's no longer a niche, that HMRC acknowledges that there are some strong gains being made. So I want to talk about Daxi and what we do. I think crypto historically has been fairly inaccessible. So I just want to give you some suggestions about if your clients are talking about exchanges they might be using, or they're talking about looking for an exchange to purchase crypto. And actually, if you talk to people that have been in crypto for a while, 4 or 5 years ago, there was a very small number of exchanges. None of them were in the UK. It would take you a couple of days sometimes to purchase crypto. There'd be commission rates of up to 10%. It was a bizarre time where the infrastructure was very immature. If you fast forward to today, obviously there are a good number of exchanges, some of those like ourselves are UK based. Our transactions are near enough instantaneous, and of course we don't charge any commission to our customers. So thankfully things have moved on quite a bit. So Daxi is referred to as a digital asset exchange. It's very important to understand that, as I mentioned, you should be looking for regulation in a local marketplace. So we're both on the FCA list, as I mentioned, and of course we are licensed in Europe. I think also it's key to understand some of those security functions. If, like me, you're old enough to remember phone banking or internet banking coming in, of course there are a number of security concerns. So a lot of the digital asset exchanges, us included, look a lot like online banking apps. And of course, you are keeping an asset online. So all those good things about security on your own devices, of course, apply. And it's very important to look at the security of the exchange. So we actually have an independent A+ security rating through a company called Mozilla Observatory. And again, there's a little bit of variety between the various exchanges. But if you compare and contrast that to some of the UK and Irish banking apps. Typically those high street banks, their online portals in terms of security rate between a D and an F rating. Some of those digital first banks like Starling, Monzo and Revolut sometimes have slightly higher security ratings because of course they're digital first offerings. But look, if you're keeping money in an online account, obviously very key to understand that. And particularly with crypto, you've got two options. You can either store it externally on a hard drive or you can store it on an exchange. The vast majority of our customers look to store on an exchange. Unfortunately, if you lose your password to a hard drive, that's it. There's a great story in the press at the moment with a gentleman that has tens of millions of pounds worth of crypto stored in a hard drive, and he's only got 10 opportunities in total to get the password wrong, and he's used 8 of them. So for that reason, lots of people choose to have a reputable exchange store their crypto for them. So I think the other thing that's key is that Daxi as a business is very education focused. As I mentioned, we have a huge amount of resources. They're primarily online, so they're easily accessible, and of course they're always free. We've also got some real ambitious plans for the UK market. So we're actually intending to list on the London Stock Exchange later this year. And we're currently working on ISA and pension routes. We're very focused both on our UK and Irish clients needing completely regulated routes. So obviously in the UK that is an ISA route, and both in the island and UK we're looking at pension routes. And we're very conscious that I think particularly for sort of the IFA and wealth managers in the regulated community, they really want fully regulated routes, which we very much appreciate. So I just want to talk about the Daxi ecosystem. So currently we are simply a crypto exchange. So today people that purchase crypto through us, whether they're buying Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum or the Daxi coin, are purchasing crypto typically for a reason of long-term wealth planning. We're not focused on traders. There are exchanges that are very much focused on the trading population. We're very much working with people who are looking to hold for sort of 6 to 12 to 18 months. But our longer term ambition is that we will be a crowdfunding business using crypto. So of course, there is a large number of crowdfunding businesses that already exist in the UK and Europe. They can be focused on crowdfunding peer-to-peer for either property or for SME lending. My background is that I worked on one of Europe's largest over a couple of years. And gradually you see a lot of evolution towards people tokenizing a broad variety of assets. So I suppose the analogy is stocks or shares or EFTs. So our opinion is that over the short to medium term, you'll see a strong migration to assets being tokenized, whether it's property or a company or fine art or fine wine. You'll see a lot of tokenization. So the argument for crypto generally is that it's a cheaper, quicker, faster way to transact. And there's a lot of talk about evolution. We used to barter for sheep using bits of gold. Fast forward now, we've got, instant payments and we've got, touchless payments on credit cards, and crypto is the natural evolution. So I'm sorry, it's a very sort of condensed version of why people like me are so excited about crypto. But you'll also see a lot of what we call tokenization in financial markets in the near term. And we'll talk about some of the asset managers, hedge funds and investment banks that are interested in that. So right now today, you see a lot of sort of separation and fragmentation in that marketplace. So you have crypto companies, which are great. You have companies that are focused on crowdfunding, and you have companies that are focused on crowd lending. So our ambition in the next 18 months is to have all those things in one place, whereby our community coin gives access to up and coming tech companies across 100 countries. So that's kind of down the road, but I just wanted to give you a sense of what we are looking to achieve. So right now we work with a real variety of businesses. We do have social media, of course, sort of as publicity for business. We get a lot of, sort of positive PR in the press. But we don't actually have a social media budget from the point of view of attracting new clients. We are exclusively attracting new customers through recommendation and referral. And there's a huge variety of businesses that do that. So we do already work with IFAs and wealth managers. We have some accountants that we work with quite closely. We of course have private individuals that have their own networks. Often they're very focused on business networking. We work with a lot of trading businesses. So people that do trade, whether it's FX or crypto, often also have clients that are looking to hold rather than to trade. And we also work with a large number of property businesses. I think property has had a few challenges. I think it's expecting a few challenges in the coming months and years. So we also work with an awful lot of property investors that are looking to diversify. And one of the things that's really interesting about crypto, and it's probably one of the biggest misconceptions, is that you absolutely have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You know, you need to have about 25 grand just lying around in a current account to purchase one. And that's completely incorrect. You can actually purchase a relatively small amount of crypto. In fact, our entry level for our platform is either £100 or €100. So you actually don't need a massive amount of capital to get started. And actually, we see a lot of people that open accounts on our platform often do start with €100 or £100 just to put their toe in the marketplace. So I spend a lot of time looking at obviously our sales data, and about 70% of our business would be repeat purchase. So again, people that purchase crypto and then over sort of the coming weeks, months and years reinvest, which is great. So I just want to spend a couple of minutes talking about why crypto is popular. So on the basis that we've got a lot of people listening to this call live, I'm assuming that they've got customers that are interested or are asking them questions. So there's some market data in this presentation that I put together yesterday. Sorry, we're talking quite early and I've had back-to-back meetings so far today. So the majority of people that are purchasing crypto today, I think it would be fair to say, would not be doing so if the UK and Europe were in a great situation. So I think the mindset for a lot of crypto investors is that they absolutely have to diversify. They're sort of in a situation where they don't really have much other choice, to be frank. So look, I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here, but of course the FTSE 100 hasn't shown great performance over the last year. Of course, coronavirus has affected it massively. We are on the precipice of one of the biggest recessions ever seen. And of course, the interest on cash in the bank is pretty abysmal. So the shot on the right for some reason is a bit bleached out. But I was doing some research on a comparison website. If you want instant access to your cash, around 1% is probably the going rate. So for that reason, many of our platform users are choosing to switch some of their cash to crypto. And this is why. So I wanted to show you the performance stats for last year. So last year, crypto outperformed every traditional asset class which is available. So this is performance over the whole of 2020. So Bitcoin, of course, is the poster child for crypto, went up by 270%. Ethereum went up by 450%. Litecoin went up by 191%. Our community coin went up by 27%. And by contrast, of course, the FTSE 100 went down by 15%. So some pretty compelling reasons for people to diversify a small amount of their cash into crypto. I often say I have a current account with a UK high street bank, which is Halifax, and it would take me 500 years to have made as much money on the interest in my current account as I made on Bitcoin last year. And of course, the risk profiles for those are very different. I'm not suggesting that I should have put all my cash into Bitcoin, but a bit of diversification, of course, has been useful to me. And for that reason, you'll see a lot more about crypto appearing in the mainstream press. A lot more people know about it. And I think although sort of Bitcoin has hogged a lot of the headlines, you often now find articles which are talking about the other blue chip cryptos, which are Ethereum and Litecoin. And the reason for that is that those are the couple of coins that the institutions are interested in. And we'll talk about which cryptos in a couple of slides' time. So this is one of my favourite pieces of press from last year. It's actually from the summer last year. It was in the Sunday Times, and it talked about someone pulling out of a leading stockbrokers program to invest some of his pension. So my recollection is that that lovely couple are in their 80s. So it's very true that crypto is no longer just for young techies. And if you follow us, particularly on social media, we tweet lots of articles and stories which are in the mainstream UK and Irish press. So I just want to spend a minute or so talking about where we are now. So the graph on the left is a very classic curve of adoption. So that would pretty much apply to any new technology. So there's a lot of talk right now about crypto having what's called its iPhone moment, which is a very shorthand way of saying that over a couple of years, it was the case that basically no one in the UK had a mobile phone or had a smartphone. And fast forward to today, we've all got one, and they're all 800 quid gadgets. And we pretty much rely on them to do everything from banking to travel to health apps to email and a list of 100 other things. So what you tend to see in any new technology is that the early couple of years, it's quite niche, it's kind of struggling to get off the ground. You then have this period of substantial growth where pretty much people are coming to the table, they've heard about it, it's getting positive press, it's kind of growing in popularity. And of course, you finally get that ski slope of growth. So interesting enough, that applies to both adoption and typically to valuing startup tech firms. So we've actually been using this graph for a couple of years, and it was our opinion that 2019 would be quite quiet for crypto. Obviously, we saw some amazing gains towards the end of the year. And over 2020, you will see, of course, more people coming to the table for crypto. And of course, the long-term predictions for crypto are phenomenal. So generally, if you look at the prices on the right, that's the Bitcoin graph over a year. As you can see, it's fairly well tracking that trend. So look, £30,000 for one Bitcoin is great. A lot of the price predictions from reputable city analysts suggest that we expect to see a 3 to 10-fold increase this year. So look, I know those parameters are massive. Is it going to be 3 times? Is it going to be 10 times? But equally, those are some credible city sources who have massive research teams who invest tens of millions of pounds into market research back in crypto, which is fantastic. So I just want to give you some examples of who's involved right now. I think I get to meet people that bought crypto a couple of years ago, and I never cease to be amazed by the bravery, I suppose, they showed in purchasing an asset class 4 years ago that no one had heard of, that was totally unproven. So I think fast forward today, if you're asking the question, is crypto real? The answer is very much so. So the argument for crypto is not whether you can go and buy a Starbucks coffee with it this afternoon. The argument for crypto is about it becoming a dominant technology. And if you look at some of the people that are backing that horse, it's some fairly compelling evidence that it's likely crypto will not only triumph, but has already started to do so. So I just want to give you some examples of that. So the really big payment businesses, which of course is MasterCard and Visa, are phenomenally invested. So MasterCard has got crypto projects and holds 80 patents in blockchain technology. Visa holds 24 patents in blockchain technology. They're investing in funding crypto startups, and they work very closely with crypto platforms, so companies like ours, to bridge that gap between the crypto businesses and actually being able to use crypto day to day. So bearing in mind that Visa has got 61 million merchants and is used by 1 billion people, their involvement in crypto is key, and they actually are assisting global policymakers, including the World Economic Forum, in making recommendations about how we can see crypto being made part of our financial infrastructure. PayPal over the summer started selling crypto. It's worth saying they have phenomenal exposure. They're live in 200 countries. They've got 320 million plus users, but they only sell a very small list of crypto, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. Again, they've ignored the vast majority of the 8,000 cryptos to concentrate on the reputable ones. Some of the big retail businesses, again, already accept crypto, so you can spend crypto via Fold today. Amazon, Starbucks, and Uber. eBay has said they'll accept it. So all these businesses are spending tens of millions of dollars updating their platforms to make crypto part of their ecosystem. The other thing you'll see is an awful lot of noise around banks, asset managers, and hedge funds using crypto. So very simply, crypto is a faster, quicker, cheaper way of moving money. So a good example of that is that last year, Bitfinex moved $1.1 billion worth of Bitcoin, and it cost them 80 cents. So unsurprisingly, a lot of those banks are very interested in that from an infrastructure point of view and from an asset class point of view. So BlackRock, which is the world's largest asset manager, they've got just shy of $7 trillion under management. Their chief investment officer praised crypto last year. DTCC is the highest value financial processor in the world, has got crypto projects. And you see lots of hedge funds and asset managers talking about crypto as a hedge against inflation, particularly right now. So there's a lot of money being printed, and Bitcoin is inherently anti-inflationary because the supply is capped. So I think over last summer, we saw a lot of the big investment banks who traditionally had said, crypto's no good, stay away, we just don't get it, really coming to the table. So my favorite story is Goldman Sachs at the beginning of the summer had a conference call to its investors and said, absolutely not an asset class. By the end of the summer, had hired a new global head of digital assets. And actually a survey by Fidelity estimates that around 1/3 of institutional investors are exposed to crypto assets. So day in, day out, more information coming out. So very quickly, I just want to talk about which cryptos are reputable. A good way of finding out is to look at a website called CoinMarketCap, which of course is free. CoinMarketCap lists over 8,000 cryptocurrencies. So for people that are looking to enter that market, it really is quite a struggle to work out which ones are good. And there's some massive trading volumes. These are actually yesterday's trading volumes. So Bitcoin saw £81 billion worth bought and sold yesterday, Ethereum 39 billion and Litecoin 11 billion. So it's a very liquid, popular, exciting market. But just bear in mind that it really is those three cryptos that are being bought and sold in any great volume. So we refer to those as the blue chip cryptos, and typically they would be around 70% of all traded volume. So I'll just say that again, there's over 8,000 cryptos, and yet 3 of them make up over 70% of traded volume. And it's our opinion that it's very likely in the short term there'll be a phenomenal amount of consolidation in that marketplace. And the vast majority of those other coins will fall by the wayside. So just to run through what Daxi provides today. So we have 3 separate programs. We are not a trading business. We don't have a fund. We're not derivatives. We purely allow people to purchase crypto in their own names, in their own accounts or in a company account. So our blue chip bundle is very popular. So if someone interacts with the platform, their money would be equally split between 50% Bitcoin, 20% Ethereum, 10% Litecoin, and 20% into our Daxi coin. The reason for that is that diversification, of course, and actually that has substantially outperformed a pure Bitcoin purchase over the last year or the last couple of years. And we actually have at 100 sterling or 100 euro entry level for that. We have a precious metals bundle, which is tokenized precious metals. So that's split between gold, silver, and platinum. That has a 200 sterling or euro entry level. That's particularly focused on our customers who are looking for wealth preservation rather than wealth creation. And finally, we have our community coin, which is appreciated substantially, and we're looking to list on an external exchange in the next couple of months. Again, which is very popular in its own right. So look, I think that I just want to spend a minute just talking about the referral program that we've got. So we, as I've mentioned, don't market externally via social media. So we literally rely on our referral network. So there's some very strong referral bonuses available. On our DAC pack, we have 20% commission. On our bundles, whether it's crypto or precious metals, our agents get a referral bonus of 10%. And we also have master agents who recruit affiliates for us and earn an override. Of course, that journey is completely automated. We're a fintech, so each of our partners has a link which they can use to drive business to their individual channels. So we try and provide a lot of business and market support. My traditional expertise is in building distribution networks. So we have a lot of support available for our partners. So of course, there's no cost for our partners. We actually have what I believe is the only certification program for crypto. So we actually have an online exam, which the pass rate is 100%. So you have to score 100% to be certified to go out and talk about crypto. We believe that we have a relatively untapped market in the UK and Europe. We have a small amount of representation so far. The online journey has been perfect for lockdown. Obviously, the COVID is hideous. I've worked for Daxi for a year, of which around 9 months we've been under some sort of lockdown in the UK. The great referral fees that we pay are paid instantaneously on the client's funds being received. And we hold lots of weekly seminars, whether they're education seminars or they're client facing, just to help built the brand. And we have a great community. So we have a couple of very active WhatsApp groups. We have daily meetups, and we have regular interaction with our affiliates online. So in terms of marketing, again, we try and make it as easy as possible for the referral partners that we work with. We have a huge amount of shareable content, whether it's recorded webinars or ebooks or some of our online reports. We do a lot of social media, so that's inherently shareable. We have some email campaigns. We're very focused on making sure that's done in a compliant way. So we have a due diligence pack and a global compliance officer. And of course, we have some great PR occurring literally each and every day. So this is my last slide. Next steps, do engage with learning. There's a huge amount available through us. If you look on our website, we have a whole section called Learn, where you can absorb an awful lot of information about crypto. We hold lots of regular online events like this one. You'll find those listed on our website under the events page, or of course, do talk to the person who introduced you to Daxi. So I'm just going to stop recording for our live people. I find where that's gone. So I'll stop sharing. So I'll just press stopping and record.